Well, welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on today's show. Yeah, I'm sorry. Haven't been sick in 5 years. Now I've been sick twice in the past 2 months. 2019 hasn't been the world's greatest to me. But let's get in with the action, and let's start it off with Ferrari. This long-rumored hybrid Ferrari has now got an official release date, May 31st of 2019, so just in a handful of days' time, the end of this month, this vehicle will be making its official debut. Supposedly going to slot in between the Superfast and the 488. It's not supposed to be the replacement for the 488, even though most of the time we've seen this thing in testing, it has been in 488 trim. So anxiously awaiting to see what Ferrari may have up their sleeve on this particular vehicle. Next up on the list, remember when we talked about the 30th anniversary of the Mazda MX5? They were going to build 3,000 of these limited edition models for the world, and 500 were coming here stateside. Well, apparently the demand has been so great here in the United States that they're opening up the books again to an extra 143 of these units being built, which is kind of an odd number if you ask me. That being said, it apparently shows how big a deal Mazda is here in the United States for this limited edition model to create so much buzz that they're going to build some extras. Now, I do have to think, what is the feeling for those initial 3,000 folks who are going to get their grubby little mitts on this car, thinking this vehicle is not going to be so limited edition, even though 143 isn't a fantastic amount. I think back, the Ferrari Enzo, they were only going to build a handful of them. They almost doubled the production of that because of the fact that that vehicle was such in demand. So, be interesting to see what other limited edition models Mazda may bring up in the next several months. Next up on the list, well, the long-awaited McLaren GT is now with us. The past 24 hours, McLaren showing off its brand new Grand Touring vehicle, aka the GT, is now with us and will be available in dealer showrooms possibly by the end of this year. Now, again, this is all about the Grand Touring lifestyle, so let's get rid of the hardcore facts initially. Comes with a 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 making 612 horsepower and 465 pounds-feet of torque. That is shifted exclusively through a 7-speed SSG automatic manual gearbox. It'll rocket this 3,232-pound Grand Touring machine to 60 in just 3.1 seconds with a top speed of 203 miles an hour. Now, the all hardcore numbers are out of the way. Let's talk about this Grand Touring vehicle. Gone is the massive front splitter for huge amount of aero effect in the front of this vehicle. It's been tucked up inside of the vehicle, and along with the hydraulic nose, this thing gets over 4 inches of ground clearance to clear the various speed bumps you're going to be in your long leisure trips in this vehicle. Also, the rear diffuser is gone out of this machine, at least tucked up inside of the machine, and the exhaust ports are actually moved outwards so you don't burn yourself, because the rear end of this vehicle is made for luggage space. They've maximized the front end of the vehicle for luggage space along with the rear end of the vehicle as well, with this handy cover that goes over the top of the engine, which will allow a full set of golf clubs. We're not talking about some wimpy stand bag. A full tour-style cart bag can actually go into the back of this machine. Now, that being said, too, the length of the machine has been optimized for this to help with that space. Only the McLaren Senna and the Speedtail are actually longer than this particular machine. It does have a longer wheelbase as well to add in on the comfort side of things. The interior wasn't left alone as well. Even the center touchscreen has been optimized for more leisure-style lifestyles for navigation and actual lap times. Along with the seat as well, they've been moved higher in the cabin itself, along with extra padding to make it a little bit more comfortable. Now, I know a mid-engine supercar is kind of a weird Grand Touring long-distance cruiser, but that's exactly what McLaren is going for in this particular machine. Pricing and availability have yet to been released, so hopefully we'll hear more about that about this time next year. They'll be out and about, probably maybe even coming out maybe later this winter, so we'll definitely keep you attuned to that information once it becomes available. And last up on the list, I'm super excited about this. Zandvoort, the famed last race on the calendar back in the 70s and 80s is back on the Formula One calendar. This famed track in the Netherlands that I actually didn't know even existed until you watch all these famous Formula One documentaries that have been cropping up all over the place. That's showing this track being the last race on the calendar. Now, not for sure where this is going to slot in the 2020 Formula One calendar. This track hasn't been on the actual Formula One circus calendar since 1985, well before my time in Formula One, at least. Well, I was alive in 1985, but you know what? I wasn't a Formula One fan until the late 80s, early 90s. In fact, the last winner inside of this particular track was Niki Lauda. Shows you how long ago that was, in a McLaren back in 1985. So 35 years this track's been off the calendar before it'll head up. And you can thank this all to the rabid Dutch fans. The Dutch Grand Prix is in existence thanks to Max Verstappen. You've seen the orange army, much like you see at Monza in a sea of red. There's always a sea of orange somewhere in the racetracks all over the Formula One calendar. Thanks to Max Verstappen and his rabid fan base, which I'm assuming this entire circus is going to be covered in orange coming up in the year 2020. Now, Zandvoort has got a lot of work to do. It's not FIA compliant, at least at the moment. It needs a lot of work, not only in the paddock area, but also in the track area. And a lot of the circuit's corners are actually going to be hopefully optimized a little bit for DRS situations. So, cannot wait for this racetrack to return to the Formula One calendar. It's going to be quite neat. This is one like the famed David Hobbs talked about, where you really feel like you're going somewhere. A lot of ups and downs and a lot of slight corners. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see it in 2020. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about. And if you made it to the end, congratulations listening to this crappy voice of mine. In this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts, don't forget to like us over on the Facebook page. Links down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time. Get the first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.